Hello everybody, it's Pineapple here, back with another video. So today I thought we would talk about the brand new TCG exclusive archetype, which is Tistina. Now we've been getting some absolute bangers of TCG archetypes. Goaty is a fan favorite that, while not super competitive, is a really fun deck to pilot, play, etc., etc. It's got a lot of variants. You can play it very differently. You can play it with Runic, you can play it with all sorts of other crap. You can play Coelacanth versions, etc., etc. And then we recently got Gold Pride in Photon Hypernova as well as Cyberstorm Access, and that deck is, it's very fun, it's an enjoyable deck to play, it has a very unique identity of burning itself down, it's gotten some absolute banger support, and we have recently gotten Tistina, which is, how do I put this? It's not even remotely comparable to the same two, but it does have a unique identity, which is it wants to Book of Moon your opponent's monsters, but it fails to do so because of certain conditions. We'll get into those conditions in a minute when we break down the card by card, but that said, I have found a way to make getting out their boss monster through its various hoops and hurdles very useful and very easily, and that is by making Bishbalkan. As you know, Bishbalkan is used for various war crimes, but we are using him for, a quick effect Book of Eclipse / Daruma Destructive Karma Cannon attached to a monster that is really not good. But that said, let's hop into some card by card. First up, we have Crystal God Tistina. It's a level 10 Aqua Light with 2,000 attack and 3,000 defense. It reads as follows. During your main phase, you can change as many monsters your opponent controls as possible to face-down defense position. Then send all face-up cards your opponent controls to the graveyard. If this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can change as many monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position as possible. Then you can send all face-up cards your opponent controls to the graveyard, and each effect is a hard once. It's a brick, and it really doesn't do anything, but you need to play it because it turns on your actual good card. Demigod of Tistina, which is also a level 10 light aqua. It has 2,000 attack as well. It has 0 defense, unfortunately. And if you control a Tistina card, you can special summon this card from your hand. Then you can add a Tistina spell trap from your deck to your hand. This effect is fantastic. It's a 10 that summons itself. It's actually good. You just need any archetypal card on field, and it searches more spell traps. The spell traps are actually reasonably good. And during your opponent's turn, if you control a Crystal God Tistina, one that's a brick basically, quick effect, you can change as many monsters your opponent controls as possible to face down defense position, then send all face-up cards your opponent controls to the graveyard. It's the quick effect version. It's actually good. It's a spell trap searcher. This card's actually fantastic. We then get into our Punk Engine. We have 2 copies of Foxy Tune. This is just to summon out, Xiamen. Extra copies of Xiamen. It gets out Sharakusai if we need to, commit to not normal summoning him in specific cases, as well as being extra copies of Xiamen. Foxy Tune's fantastic, as well as being an 8 to make Bishbalkan with. A copy of Deer Note to bring back either Foxy Tune or Rising Carp, as well as a target 4 Rising Carp. Just a really good card to make exactly Geomathematic Magma. We have a copy of Hound of Tistina. This is a level 4 Earth Aqua, and if it's in your hand or graveyard and you control a light Tistina monster, you can special summon this card. You can only use this effect once per turn, and Tistina monsters you control can attack directly while your opponent controls a face-down defense position monster. This is actually a really good effect and is very useful for OTK, so you will see that later, but unfortunately it doesn't really facilitate anything, so it's kind of a one-of. It just kind of feels good to play it as a one-of, but it doesn't really work at more than that. We then have 3 copies of Sentinel of Tistina. It's a Wind Aqua. Level 3, and if this card is in your hand or graveyard and you control a light Tistina, you can also special summon it for free, and you can target a Tistina monster you control or face down card you control, destroy it, then add a Tistina card from your deck to your hand. And this is really great because it searches, for our continuous spell, our field spell, and Demigod. Just really good. It gets you pretty much everything you want. It can even get us the trap, which we're playing as a one-of because I think it's funny. Even if it's not optimal. And then a copy of Sharakusai to help make Rising Carp, a copy of Madam Spider to search our spell traps, 3 copies of Xiamen to, get our whole Punk Engine running, a copy of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, place it, a copy of Ogre for Amazing Dragon as a target, just in case, we don't open any copies of our Tistina stuff that we need to do combo, we can, fall back on an Amazing Dragon line as well as Psychic End, just a really solid option to have. 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird's, the staple format here right now, but additionally it gets benefits from Small World because Sentinel can bridge into Xiamen and a whole bunch of other things. Small World goes really hard, especially with Droll in this deck specifically, which is why I think it's a mandatory one-of, especially if you want to play the Punk Engine. A copy of Cult by the Grave just because we have some space, and 3 copies of E-Telly to get out Xiamen without committing to our normal, and then we have Breath of the Tistina. During your main phase, you can normal summon a Tistina monster in addition to your normal summoner set. This effect is somewhat irrelevant, but it matters because if you're normal summoning Xiamen, but that said, the really important effect is what comes after that. You can target a face-up monster you control, or if you control a light Tistina monster, you can target a face-up monster on the field instead, change that monster to face-down defense position, then add a Tistina card from your deck to your hand, except itself. This is really good because we can book our Xiamen and then fusion away with Sharakusai anyway, so the cost isn't really that difficult when you're booking your Xiamen in order to then fuse away. We'll get to talk about that a little later. later. But this card's fantastic because it searches our entire archetype, mostly just demigod to get, more extenders and stuff. I'll run a copy of Divine Domain Ballast Tistina. This card is searchable because it technically has Tistina in the name. It's the field spell. During your main phase, you can Foolish Burial a Tistina monster from your deck to your graveyard. Then if your opponent controls 3 or more face-up cards, you can special summon Crystal God Tistina from your deck or hand. And you can only use this effect once per turn. And if it's destroyed, you get to special summon a Tistina monster from your deck or graveyard. It's only if it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect, which is important to note. So yeah, your opponent's not going to want to proc this. But that said, it's the only real way to cheat out the Crystal God, which we really need to do in order to turn on our actual interruptions in demigod. But it's really unfortunate because, you have to have face-up monsters, which means that it's really hard to facilitate this turn 1, which is why we're playing Bish Balkan in order to give our opponent face-up cards so that we can turn on our field spell, so that we can summon Crystal God from deck. So that's why we're jumping through all these hoops with the punk cards. Round 3 comes of Imperm, a copy of Dangerous Gabu, which is just an archetypal searchable Imperm, a copy of Joro Punk Nawashaki Surprise. This is target a set card your opponent controls, or if you control a punk monster, you can target a face-up card your opponent controls instead, destroy it. This is really good just because, we're going to be booking their board so we can clear stuff in their end phase. It's just solid, super solid card. And then Signs of the Tistina. You activate this card by targeting a face-up monster on the field. Special summon this card as an effect monster. Aqua Light, level 10, 0 attack, 0 defense with the following effects. It's also still treated as a trap card. During your opponent's turn, when that target leaves the field, destroy this card. During your opponent's turn, when this card leaves the field, destroy that target. This is mostly just, I like it as a level 10 extender so that we can go into the big boy Gustav Rail Cannon Max later. But that's about it. In the extra deck, we have a copy of Rising Carp for our Punk Engine, a copy of Bish Balkan to enable our entire game plan, a copy of Psychic End and Amazing Dragon as a fallback, a copy of Jam Dragon Drive again as a fallback, a copy of Geomathemic Magma in order to facilitate Bish Balkan, a copy of Zeus, a copy of Lieb, a copy of Gustav Max, a copy of Fortune Tune if we really need to. We play a lot of 3s, so we can overlay, make Fortune Tune, make Zeus if we're desperate, Unchained Abomination just for an end board piece, a copy of Apollosa, again another target for IP, a copy of Unicorn as an IP target, IP Masquerena, and a copy of Link Reboot in order to facilitate the ability to make Unchained Abomination with the Bish Balkan tokens. So with that, I'll show you the mainline combo. Now, our mainline combo is anything that gets us to Xiamen, and of course our copy of Breath of Tistina. As long as you can reach those 2 things, you should, in theory, be able to reach full combo, which we're about to demonstrate here. E-Tail is just the best way to demonstrate it because it's special summon, so of course we'll start by getting Xiamen. From here we'll fire Xiamen, and we're going to go get a copy of Sharakusai. Again, you can get Foxy Tune here if you really want, and you need to special summon out if you have to commit to the normal here. We'll book our Xiamen with Breath and search Demigod. From here we'll go Sharakusai into Rising Carp. We'll go Rising Carp into, of course, a copy of Deer Note and Madame Spider. Madame Spider is going to search us our copy of the Imperm. This could also be, the other trap if you want. We'll go into Magma, we'll bring back our copy of Rising Carp, go into Bish Balkan, and we're going to put 5 tokens on both players' boards. This is really nice because it's going to enable us to do some heinous things. So we'll give our opponent, their 5 tokens, our 5 tokens. We got to wait for the animation to resolve, which really sucks. And from here, we're going to make a copy of IP. We're going to make a copy of Link Rebo, and then we're going to make a copy of Unchained Abomination, who's just a, good card. We'll special out Demigod and go ahead and search our field spell. From here, we can Foolish Burial our copy of Sentinel, get out the Crystal God, and special out the Sentinel, so that we have enough material for IP Masquerena. This means that we have Unchained Abomination, a copy of IP to go into, and an Imperm, as well as our Book of Moon, while filling our entire opponent's board with tokens, meaning that if they aren't playing Link Monster, they're pretty much out of zones. Very, very strong in the sense that, now they're out of zones. Not all decks play Link monsters anymore. It's very strange, but the combo seems reasonably good enough, and it's reasonably consistent enough that the deck seems playable. I'll put playable in quotes because this deck is very sketchy at best. So with that, let's hop into some actual gameplay. So first up, we are playing against Makako, the dumb cheese deck that I hate. We have open full combo, and we'll start by getting out Xiamen. From here, we'll go Xiamen into, of course, a copy of Foxy Tune. We'll normal summon the Sentinel, we'll Sentinel pop itself, and we'll go get ourselves Breath of the Tistina. From here, we are going to, book our Xiamen, and then proceed to get Demigod. We'll go for Foxy Tune, we'll pitch this small world if we don't need it, and then we'll go Foxy. We'll go for, into Rising Carp. We'll Rising Carp into, of course, this Madame Spider from hand, which really sucks. We will go get a copy of Gabu, and then proceed to go into Magma. We'll bring back this copy of Rising Carp, and then, make Bish Balkan, and give ourselves 5 whole tokens, as well as our opponents, so that they have 3 face-up cards, so that we can summon our stupid brick. But, you gotta do what you gotta do. And so from here, we're going to make, of course, a copy of IP. We're going to make a copy of Link Reboot, and then we're going to make a copy of Unchained Abomination. We'll special out Demigod here, and go get ourselves the field spell. We'll fire the field spell and proceed to Foolish Burial, a copy of the Hound. And from here, we're going to bring back the Hound, and we're going to bring back our Sentinel. And at this point, we're going to set 2 and pass. Unchained Abomination is going to rip pop 1 in the end phase. And then we're just going to, hope they don't have anything. And unfortunately, they have a Kaiju. We'll go IP into a copy of Appaloosa here because, anything that uses pre-prep is, going to want to activate a bunch of monster effects, but it won't matter because we're going to get Kaiju. From here, they will attempt to use their Snatch Shield. They'll put their Dogoran back in hand, go ahead and search a trap, then hand us another Dogoran. They'll try to go to battle, and we'll book the board. And from here, we will send all their tokens. They'll pass back to us here. And we'll draw Foxy Tune for turn. We'll pop their back row. I should have done this in the end phase, but whatever. We'll bring back both of our guys, and this is where a Hound is going to come in really clutch. We're going to attempt to search, and then we'll negate the search. We can play it really safe here so that they don't get, to summon anything. So we're just going to get in for, a whole bunch of damage. And after battle, we're going to overlay. We're going to make Gustav for game. It's really nice to see Gustav, clutch up here. We really needed him too because I hate Makako, and I didn't want to play against this deck anymore. Now, I thought it was important to, showcase that this deck is not good and that it cannot play through negates, it can't play through a ton of interruptions. It really struggles, but so we're using Brendan to demonstrate that. We'll start with Brendan Fusion, Looper Search, Brendan Red, they'll pitch DM, make freaking Dark, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, good card. Our hand is mid as well, we can't really play through Dragoon. You can tell that this guy's playing a not great deck, but it doesn't really matter because our deck is even worse. So we'll book, we'll attempt to summon out Demigod, get negated, they'll go for Brendan in red. And we can't beat Guardian Chimera. We can't beat him. He's going to, pop our whole board. And subsequently, we'll just scoop it up. Like, this deck trying to play through, significant interruptions, it's very weak. You have pretty serious choke points in, any Tistina card, specifically a Demigod. And, of course, the Punk engine is exceptionally vulnerable to negating the effect of Rising Carp. So, as you can see, just very, very weak to any sort of disruption. Now, this next match is up against Triamid, not because I think it's a good deck or anything, but because I think the interaction with Congrade is very funny, so we'll go for Italy into Ziaman into Foxy Tune, and then we'll summon out Sentinel. Sentinel's going to pop itself, get ourselves the Continuous, we'll book our copy of Ziaman here, and then go get a copy of Demigod. We will send the copy of Hound to the grave, get Shirakusai, they'll trigger, Congrate, which is very funny because he messes up Fish Balkan zones, which I personally think is just objectively hilarious. So we'll go get Madam Spider. From here, we're going to search out a copy of, the boy, and then we'll bring back Foxy Tune after going into Magma, go into Fish Balkan, and get not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 copies of the token to both sides of the field here, which is a little weird, but it's completely fine because, we can summon our guys back from grave, make an IP, make a Link Karibo, trigger Demigod, and then from here we will go get the field spell, we'll bring back Sentinel, and make a copy of Unchained Abomination. We'll fire the field spell here, and proceed to get out the Crystal God, as well as dumping another copy of Sentinel on the way. We'll get out Hound for an IP material, and phase we'll use a bomb to clear the Congrate. We'll draw Moon Mirror Shield, which is very funny. We'll go into Link Karibo, go into the field spell, equip, this copy of Moon Mirror, go to battle. Start a battle, we will, put the entire board. And then they will proceed to, miss timing on their field spell, as far as I'm aware, and scoop it up, which I think is just a hilarious interaction. Now, we're playing against Makako again, and as much as I hate this deck, this match is pretty good. So we'll start with Small World, we'll go get a copy of Ziaman, we'll normal out this copy of Ziaman, and proceed to, go get Foxy Tune. Foxy Tune will pitch our guy, and proceed to go through our, our Punk line that we've seen around 1,000 times, because that's the only way this deck can, accomplish its stuff. So we'll go get Madam Spider, we've already drawn our Pop spell, which is kind of nice. And then we will proceed to, get our Imperm, we'll trigger everything here, make Fish Balkan, get 5 tokens, the usual, as it happens to go. If you haven't seen this combo before, I don't know what you were paying attention to, but from here we're going to go make a copy of IP into a Link Karibo, into, the boy. The boy will fire the field spell that we've hard drawn, we'll bait a copy of the Hound, get out the God, and proceed to special summon Sentinel and the Hound. From here we will proceed to, pop our Sentinel, go get our copy, sells a copy of the field spell, we'll pop a token here with Abomination, then we'll proceed to book our Sentinel, go get Demigod, we'll fire Demigod and get out, our trap card, and then set 3 and pass back. End phase, we'll clear another token, and then proceed to, pass it on back to our opponent. They'll fire Prosperity, the best card in, Makako, because this deck is terrible, and they'll find off the top, Hidden Armory, which is just so annoying. God, I hate Makako so much. Probably one of my least favorite decks, even though it's bad. I hate Makako TK decks. They'll proceed to put our Crystal God back in our hand, which turns off our Book of Moon, which is very, very frustrating. From here, they will proceed to, equip set to go to the battle phase, and proceed to bounce away our copy of Abomination and inflict 1500. From here, they'll equip. We'll go for IP here into Unicorn. We don't want to pitch our guy. It's just a dodge. They don't get the equip. We'll shuffle away pop a back row in the end phase and get out our, our guy, and then they will proceed to, attempt to steal our Crystal God. We'll book their board, send their board, get back our Crystal God in face down defense. We'll summon out our guy. In order to, have a light, this is where the trap comes in useful. We'll book the trap so it goes back to the spell trap zone, and then proceed to summon out Demigod, search another copy of the spell, and then proceed to get in for a whole bunch of damage here. We can't, get in for lethal, and unfortunately, we're going to have to make an A-bomb and pass back, and they're going to have to pray that this prosperity does work. So they'll go for 6 and find everything they could ever ask for, because, of course they do. Dumb cheese decks are always rewarded. So they'll go get the blue equip spell. They'll equip to our Demigod. And from here we are going to, activate our thing, targeting itself, so that when it leaves the field, it triggers our copy of Abomination to pop their equip. And then we'll fire Imperm, and they have Saravis. So we'll have to chain Gabu here, which is freaking annoying, but it is what it is. So we'll clear the spell. They'll, get back another copy of it. Just why not? Special out the green one. I don't know what these cards are named. They're so weird. They'll snatch steal our guy. Well, why not? And then proceed to equip our other one. They'll walk in. We'll take 15. They'll put him back in our hand. It is what it is. Main 2, they'll make a Phoenix and proceed to pop our field spell for some reason. That's fine by me as we get back, the Demigod. And this means that we have a light on board so that we can go for the boy. From here they will attempt to snatch steal, but that's okay because we have another Demigod in hand. From here we'll fire the Demigod. And I forgot that they have to have a face down card when we go to battle here. In order to attack directly, so we'll have to wait a turn. From here we will just, normal summon out the god, book their board, put them on one card, and it's going to have to be a good one. And that's a pretty good one. From here they will go for their Archetypal Searcher, get another one of these blues. We'll fire Droll here just in hopes we'll book the board again, send their thing, but they still have more extenders. They'll get back another copy of the green one. Quick, go to battle, hit us for another, 2,000. We're pretty low here. They'll put our Demigod back in hand, and that's fine by me. From here, they're just going to bounce away all of our stuff, and that's a-okay as we have Demigod to get out for well over lethal. From here, we'll bring back all of our guys and just walk in for lethal. I hate Makako. But, that's what you got to play against sometimes. So, we're back with the deck, and I can comfortably say that it isn't, exceptionally good. But it's about as good as you can probably get with, a deck who has no real way to facilitate its own game plan turn 1, and can't play board breakers even though it wants to go second because it needs face-up cards on the field to resolve its card to get out its boss monster to wipe its opponent's board. Just miserable archetype. I hope they give it more support because, I found the Bish Balkan line so creative. But I hope that, this deck gets, a little better. It does lose to Dark Ruler, which is very funny. But getting to play Gustav Max is, always a plus. But if you guys did enjoy this deck profile and replays, etc., etc., make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.